Hi students, in the last class we have seen the introductory part of unit 2, that is performance analysis of short and medium transmission lines. In that class we discussed that the transmission lines are classified into three categories based upon the length and operating voltage. So based upon the length, if the length of the transmission line L is less than 80 kilometers and operating voltage V less than 20 kV, then such a line comes under short transmission line. Whereas if the length is varying in between greater than 80 kilometers and less than 200 kilometers, then such a transmission line is called as medium transmission line, and the operating voltages are greater than 21 kV and less than 120 kV. This comes under medium transmission line. Medium transmission line. Coming to the third category based upon the length, if the lengths are greater than 200 kilometers and operating voltage greater than 120 kV, such a line is called as long transmission line. Up to here we discussed in the last class, and in this unit 2 we are going to see the performance analysis of the first two transmission lines. They are short transmission line and medium transmission line. So what is meant by performance analysis? The performance analysis is nothing but we have to analyze the performance of short and medium transmission lines in two parameters. They are, the first one is transmission efficiency. Transmission efficiency. And the second one is voltage regulation. Voltage regulation. These are the two performance parameters which we are going to calculate for this short transmission line and medium transmission lines. So coming to the representation of the short transmission line, as we discussed in the last class, the short transmission lines, being the length very small, less than 80 kilometers, out of 4 parameters what we have calculated as a line constants in the unit 1 called as RLGC, out of these 4 parameters, the resistance, inductance, conductance and capacitance, these two are neglected for short transmission line, and only parameters available are the resistance and inductance, which forms a series branch impedance called as Z is equal to R plus J omega L. And the representation of this short transmission line I am drawing here. It consists of a sending end port, 2 terminals. Each port we know that there are 2 terminals. These are the 2 terminals with the sending end side, and the entire transmission line is represented with a lumped elements. They are called as resistance and inductive reactance, R and XL, and here these terminals are called as receiving end terminals. So these are sending end terminals and these are receiving end terminals. At this receiving end terminals we will connect the load. Okay, time being I am assuming that it is a lagging load which requires a voltage of VR, receiving end voltage VR, and the load is having a power factor of cos phi r, and the current supplied to the load is IR. Okay, so this R plus JXL forms the series impedance, and sending end side, if you observe the parameters, these are sending end voltage Vs, sending end current Is, and the phase angle existed here is called phi s, with the power factor on the sending end side as cos phi s. So finally we are having total 8 quantities. The 8 quantities are sending end voltage, sending end current, sending end power factor, multiplication of these three gives us the sending end power PS, which is equal to Vs Is cos phi s. These are the four parameters that are there on the sending end side. Coming to the receiving end side, the magnitudes are Vr, Ir, power factor on the receiving end side called cos phi r, and the power on the receiving end side PR, whose value is equal to Vr, Ir, cos phi r. Okay. So these are the total 8 quantities that existed in a transmission line, considering short or medium. Okay. So in general, before going to analyze this short transmission line, let us see what is transmission efficiency and voltage regulation. Transmission efficiency is nothing but, it is defined as, transmission efficiency is defined as the ratio of output power to the input power. Coming to the transmission line, the output quantities are defined in terms of receiving end side. That is why I call this as receiving end power. So power on receiving end side, power on receiving end divided by sending end power multiplied by 100 gives us percentage of efficiency. So the same thing can be written in our notation as the transmission efficiency. It is defined as the receiving end power. On the receiving end side, we know that it is of power PR divided by sending end side power is PS representation. So the same thing can be expanded as power PR, which is equal to VR, IR, cos phi r for a single phase system, divided by Vs, Is, cos phi s. This is one way of calculating the efficiency. So if you use this formula, then we should have these 6 quantities with our side. Then only we can find out the efficiency. In other words, we can represent the same efficiency as Vr, Ir, cos phi r, which is called as receiving end power, which will be known because demand. Our demand, we know how much power we want. So the receiving end power is a known quantity priorly. So with reference to that known quantity, Vr, Ir, cos phi r, we can get the sending end power, because the sending end and receiving end, if you observe here, it differs in terms of its transmission line constants, where the transmission losses will occur. So to this receiving end power, if I add the losses, then we can estimate the sending end power. In the same lines here also, I am telling you that this is the sending end power. How to get sending end power? Receiving end power Vr, Ir, cos phi r plus transmission losses. What are transmission losses? The current square into resistance of that network. I mean to say output divided by output plus losses, where the denominator output plus losses is nothing but input power in a generalized machines concept. The same thing I am utilizing here in terms of receiving and sending end powers. So receiving end power is an output power, sending end power is an input power. So sending end power is equal to now the receiving end power plus losses. This formula holds good for if the system is a single phase system. If at all if it is a 3-phase system, then the transmission efficiency can be calculated as √3 Vr, Ir, cos phi r, where this Vr and Ir are line quantities. That is why the power value we got it as √3 divided by the same √3 Vr, Ir, cos phi r, which is receiving end power, plus the transmission losses that are available in the entire 3-phase system, being a 3-phase network. Then the transmission losses are 3I square into R. If you check it clearly, this VR, IR, this VR, IR are line values, whereas this small I without any suffix, if you observe in the loss, that is capital I. Capital I is current in phase. Since this I is in phase value, I will denote it here as I phase. So 3 I phase square R. This is the I phase current. R is the resistance per phase. Then we can calculate I square R as the transmission losses for one phase. Since it is a 3-phase network, we will be having 3 similar phases, multiplied it with 3. Then we will get the total loss. Altogether, this formula is applicable for calculating the efficiency in a 3-phase system. This is about the efficiency. As simple as that. One should be able to know the quantities called as receiving end current, receiving end voltage and receiving end power factor. Also should know the magnitude of the resistance. Then we can estimate the losses. Here these are the losses. Immediately we can able to find out the efficiencies. And the ideal value of the efficiency is 100%. Okay, and methodologies are implemented to approach this transmission efficiency to be nearer to this ideal value called 100%. So in that way we will design the transmission line which will having less resistance, that is ohmic value. This is about the first parameter called transmission efficiency, and the second parameter is voltage regulation. So it is defined as the amount of the voltage dropped whenever the transmission line is loaded from no load to full load condition. So that amount of voltage deviated with respect to its full load voltage is called as voltage regulation. As simple as that, I will represent this voltage regulation as percentage regulation. It is equal to the no load voltage VR naught. Naught stands for no load. VR naught minus VR. VR stands for receiving end voltage on full load condition, divided by VR into 100. And this will be represented with the no load condition. Full load condition itself, that is VR. So percentage regulation is equal to VR naught minus VR by VR. Full load condition will represent. So into 100. So percentage regulation is equal to VR naught minus VR by VR into 100. Then how to get this VR naught and VR? VR is the fully loaded voltage condition priorly known to us. Then any transmission line will have 2 ports like this. These are the 2 ports, sending end port and receiving end port. So at this receiving end port, if you clearly observe, this is the voltage VR. Since nothing load was connected here, I can call this as no load operation VR naught, and this network will become a open circuit, so that current on the receiving end side will be 0. Whereas these are the quantities on the sending end side. If at all if the current is available, we will call it as IS, and the voltage is called as VS. Okay, since the current is not there because of no load operation, the voltage available at the terminals is called as VR naught. So this is case 1. In this case 1, it is operating at no load condition. Whereas in case 2, I am operating with the loaded condition. Under this loaded condition, we can observe for the same network. This is the same network where the transmission line is represented with a black box, and here the terminals are sending end terminals with a voltage of VS and IS. Okay, and these terminals are receiving end terminals. Now in case 2, I am applying a load. Because of an application of the load, it forms a closed circuit and the current will circulate, called as the receiving end current IR. Previously that current was 0 in no load condition, but now there exists a current called IR. So whenever the current is existed, obviously the voltage drops will be available. In this black box. so that the magnitude of the voltage available at the output side or the receiving end side terminals will be obviously less than the case 1. Such a voltage is called as VR. VR is now fully loaded voltage condition. Then what is the difference between this VR0 and VR? VR0 is the no load voltage where the drops are approximated to 0, so that a maximum voltage of the designed value you can obtain. Whereas with fully loaded conditions, the voltage drop exists. Because of existence of this voltage drop, the voltage on the receiving end side will get decreased in its magnitude under fully loaded condition due to the presence of this IR. Hence, the voltage at that full load condition of a reduced value, we call this as VR. Observing that VR0 and VR, we can able to calculate the percentage regulation called as VR0 minus VR by VR into 100. Okay. So this is the way how to calculate the regulation. And ideal value of the regulation, if you check out, the ideal value of the regulation is ideal value of regulation, voltage regulation is 0%. Now methodologies are implemented to get that 0 voltage regulation and approximate it to very lesser values. Okay. This is about the transmission efficiency and voltage regulations. In this methodologies of approaching this voltage regulations to a very nearer to 0 values, we have to minimize the voltage drops. Minimize the voltage drops. So finally, how to minimize this voltage drops? As we know, the ohmic value Z is equal to R plus J XL. XL is expanded as omega L. So if you design the transmission line with less value of the resistance as well as less value of the inductance, obviously the impedance offered by the transmission line will be very small, where the voltage drops called I into Z, I phasor multiplied by Z phasor, this will be gets decreased, so that the VR will not be that much deviated and will be approximated to VR0. Hence, we achieve the percentage regulation nearer to the ideal case called 0%. This is our objective. Our objective now is in a single line. I am telling the objective to get a transmission efficiencies of nearer to 100%, which is possible by minimizing the losses. This is our first objective. And second objective is to get the percentage regulations to an ideal value approximated to 0, which is obtained with decreasing the drops I into Z. Okay. So in both the cases, this plays a major role called losses and voltage drops. So the losses directly depends upon resistance, which is to be minimized in the designing itself. Whereas the voltage drops depends upon impedance Z, which is equal to R plus J omega L. R plus J, Z is equal to R plus J omega L. So this resistance already we designed with a lower value. Still, to decrease this impedance magnitude, the inductance should also be minimized. These are our two objectives. And next we are going to see the analysis, performance analysis, that is this efficiency calculation and regulation calculation for a short transmission line whose length is less than 80 kilometers and is represented with lumped elements called R plus J XL, neglecting the shunt branch G and C. Coming to the short transmission line, which is represented with a series impedance having R and L, with loop resistance as R for lead wire and return wire, and inductive reactance of a loop, that is both for phase and return wire. So the quantities are Vs, Is, and here the quantities are Vr and IR. Okay, so these are lumped elements as I told you. Now the analysis is, before doing the analysis, the demand is known for us. That is, the requirement on the load side is known for us. That is, the power PR will be given to us with a required voltage is demanded by the customer or consumer on the utility point side, that is receiving end side. So PR, VR and nature of the load called as cos phi r, whether it is a lagging load or leading load, will be given to us, will be known priorly to us. So I mean to say PR, VR, cos phi r are priorly known to analyze the network. So with the help of these three, we can estimate the magnitude of the receiving end current called as IR, which is equal to PR by VR cos phi for a single phase system. Whereas for a three phase system, the current IR per phase, which is equal to power PR of a three phase system divided by root 3 VRL cos phi r, assuming it as a star connected. So that power PR is a three phase value, VRL is a receiving end voltage line value. It is applicable for three phase system. So the first step is, after knowing the prior values of this PR, VR, cos phi r, one should calculate the receiving end current, which will be helpful for analyzing the drops. Okay, so VR, IR, nature of the load cos phi r is known to us along with the given value of a power PR, so that the receiving end quantities are finalized, are obtained. Always remember that analysis will be started from the receiving end side, and slowly we will apply our basic principles, electrical principles called Ohm's law, KCL, KVL, and we will use that KCL and KVL for this circuit, and we will move towards sending end side. At the sending end side also, we know that there are four quantities: Vs, Is, cos phi s and Ps. Those can be calculated by using the basic formulas, that is Kirchhoff's laws, KCL and KVL. So this is the first step of calculating the current. Next, apply the KVL to this loop. On applying KVL to this loop, then this is assumed to be positive, this is assumed to be negative based upon the directions of the current they were passing, and hence the current will pass through this, so that the drops are identified as the ohmic drop, which is equal to I into R plus J XL, and this is plus voltage and this is minus voltage, assuming that there is a load of PR. Applying KVL, minus Vs plus the drop I into R plus J XL plus VR is equal to 0. This is the KVL, in which in these quantities VR is known prior to us, which is a demand to operate the load, whereas I we calculated in the previous step, and the resistance R and XL are the transmission line constants, where we obtain from the unit 1 how to calculate, and are obtained from unit 1, so that these are known values R and XL. So the unknown quantity here, it is minus Vs. Simplifying for that Vs, we will write this as Vs is equal to the known quantity VR plus I into R plus J XL. Observing clearly, this voltages and currents, whatever we are discussing so far, is an AC quantities, which are represented in phasors. So VR phasor, Vs phasor, and the current is also a phasor. This impedance is also a phasor represented in complex form R plus J XL. So how to get the magnitude of this Vs is a problem now. We can obtain this Vs in two ways. By mathematically keeping all the quantities in phasor notation, as like this what I am showing. So the VSV is a phasor which is equal to the VR, it is taken as a reference, so that VR plus J0, since it was taken as a reference, we are at an angle 0, plus the current I will have a magnitude of I with its phase angle. What is phase angle? Phi r, and the nature is assumed to be lagging load. Therefore, this current phasor can be represented in the complex form as I of cos phi r minus J sin phi r. Why to put here minus? Because it is the lagging current. That is why we placed here minus. So I into cos phi r minus J sin phi r again multiplied with the complex form of the impedance representation as R plus J XL. So we will get this Vs as phasor formation whose value is equal to VR plus J0 plus I cos phi r minus I, this is J notation, minus J I sin phi r multiplied by R plus JXL. So finally we will get this Vs as a phasor which will have both magnitude as well as phase angle, real part and imaginary part, so that we can write that as Vs at an angle phi s. This is about the mathematical simplification of the Vs. Instead of going for mathematical simplification, we can obtain the mathematical formula directly in terms of magnitude by drawing the phasor diagram. So let us see how to find out that Vs from the phasor diagram. If we observe the same thing, the KVL of the transmission line loop, that is Vs is a phasor which is equal to the known quantity Vr plus, this is the equation, Vr plus I into R plus J XL. This is the magnitude. And time being we know that because of this shunt branch is not available, the receiving end current IR is equal to IS, which we treated here as I. I mean to say here, that is the sending end side current IS magnitude will be equal to the receiving end side current IR, whose value is identified as capital I. Because in a short transmission line there is no shunt branch. Since shunt branch is not available in this, then the sending end current and receiving end current will both be equal, being a series branch, series elements. Therefore IS is equal to IR, which is equal to I, the same amount of current I am taking here. So let us implement the phasor diagram. Coming to the phasor diagram, the current I and the voltage VR are the known quantities. Therefore I will take that VR as a reference quantity to analyze the phasor diagram. Let me take this as VR, which is taken as reference. With reference to this VR voltage which is applied for the load, the current is to be drawn. Since the nature of the load is lagging load, the current I should be lagging to this VR. Lagging means behind to that phasor. So I mean to say that this is the current I, which is lagging to VR by an angle of phi r. Okay. So now this is a lagging load with a voltage of VR, and the nature of the current is a lagging current lagged by an angle of phi r. The next step is, means so far I have shown this VR. Next I have shown the phasor of I. What to do now? To get this Vs, we have to add I into R to this VR, as well as we have to add I into XL to that obtained quantity. So I have to do phasor additions. As we know that phasor additions is nothing but we have to add the phasors at the tip of the phasors. So what is the quantity to be added? I into R. So I into R is nothing but this is the I into R, the voltage drop across the resistor, which will be in phase to the current. Current is horizontal. Therefore, the line which I am going to draw, representation of the drop, will also be horizontal and parallel to it, drawn at the tip of this VR, because we are adding the phasors. So up to now what we got is VR plus I into R. Why we added this I into R horizontally? Because this I into R is the voltage drop which is in parallel or in phase to the current I. Okay. Up to here we completed VR plus I into R. Immediately followed by plus J. What is plus J indication? Plus J mathematically it represents the phasor should be oriented in anti-clockwise by 90 degrees. This is anti-clockwise direction. This is anti-clockwise direction. In this anti-clockwise direction, right now this is the phasor position. It should be oriented by 90 degrees. Yes, this was the 90 degrees, which represents plus J. Okay. In what way we have oriented that line? In anti-clockwise, like this. Okay. So that is why we are getting the line upwards. If we are moving in the clockwise direction, then the same phasor, whatever it is present IR, will be moving in clockwise direction like this. Okay, it will be like this, which is not our line, right? Since it is plus J indicates always anti-clockwise, right? And the magnitude of this phasor now to be added is I into XL. Once I repeat, this nothing but three words are there. They are VR is the first word, second word is I into R, and the third word is plus J I into XL. These three phasors have to be drawn. First phasor is VR. This is O and this is A. OA is the first phasor representing VR. And next AB. AB is the second phasor representing the drop across the resistor which is in phase to the current AB. And next BC. BC is the phasor which is oriented in anti-clockwise direction by 90 degrees because of plus J notation. If at all, if in the equation there is minus J, I have to orient that phasor in clockwise direction by 90 degrees. Right now I am orienting, I am directing this phasor in anti-clockwise by 90 degrees with a length of I into XL called as BC. Now the phasor sum is OA plus AB plus BC, which is equal to the resultant magnitude called as OC, whose formula, as per the formula, it should be VS. Yes, this is VS. Okay. And the angle that was existing between this VS and I is called as phase angle on the sending end side. What it is? Phi S. Hope all of you understood this concept. OA is VR, AB is I into R, BC is I into XL, and OC is the resultant called as VS. Our objective is now to get the formula for this VS from this phasor diagram. How to get that VS? To get this VS, we have to do some small modifications in this phasor diagram. Draw a line from point B towards the current phasor like this. And the point is identified as capital D. Similarly, draw a line at point A towards the same amount of the current I, and let this point be F. Okay. So these two modifications I have done to calculate the voltage Vs. What are the modifications? At point B I have dropped a line towards the current, and at point A also I have dropped a perpendicular line towards the current, and those two intersected points are called as D and F. In this phasor diagram, now you can obtain a right angle triangle. What is this right angle triangle? ODC. ODC. It's a right angle triangle. In this right angle triangle ODC, our objective is to get the length of this OC called as VS. Then we have to use the Pythagoras theorem. As per Pythagoras formula, hypotenuse Vs square, otherwise Vs is equal to the length OC, which is equal to square root of OD square plus DC square. Okay. Then what is this OD? it's a horizontal component, can be written as OC plus CD. Okay, then what is OC? To get that value of OC, I mean to say this is OF plus FD. OF plus FD on the horizontal line. This is the horizontal line. This is the F point, what we get. OF plus FD. OD is equal to OF plus FD. How to get this OF and OD? Coming to the line OF. Here in the triangle, one more triangle you can observe. I am redrawing here. The triangle is triangle OFA. It was the triangle. For convenient purpose, I am drawing here that triangle. Yes, this is the line. You can observe. This was the triangle with the sides as OFA with 90 degrees here. And this is hypotenuse VR. And this is an angle phi r. Then OF. Our required value is OF. What is this OF? Horizontal component, adjacent side, can be represented with cosine term. Therefore, as per the triangle concepts, all of us know that OF is equal to hypotenuse VR cos phi r. VR cos phi r. And next FD. What is this FD? FD is equivalent to, here I am writing FD, it is equivalent to the parallel line. What is the parallel line? AB. So it is equivalent to AB. Then I can write that AB value as I into R. I into R. So that from the terms OF and FD, I got the entire magnitude of OD. What is that entire magnitude of OD? OD is equal to VR cos phi r, VR cos phi r plus the drop in the resistance called I into R. This is OD. One of the side in the right angle triangle. This is OD. And similar way I have to get DC. What is DC? DC is equal to DB plus BC. DB plus BC. Get the value of DB. To get the value of DB, which is equivalent to parallel line called as AF. AF. To get that AF, I will use this small right angle triangle. For convenient purpose, I am drawing again here, which is called as OFA. So I want the magnitude of this AF with the hypotenuse of VR and the phase angle is phi r. This is opposite side. Therefore, sine term. Hence, AF is equal to hypotenuse VR sine phi r. Okay. So that once if you know AF, default it is a DB, as DB and AF are parallel lines. And the next quantity is BC. What is BC? BC is directly given as the drop across the reactance, I into XL. Once getting these values of DB and BC, we will get the entire magnitude of DC, which is equal to VR sine phi r plus I into XL. So we got the horizontal component and vertical component of a right angle triangle, from where we will get this VS. So what are they? This is horizontal component and this is vertical component. So from the right angle triangle, as per our discussion, ODC, the VS is equal to, so what is VS? VS is equal to square root of VR cos phi r plus I into R whole square OD square, as this is OD square, it is the value. And next DC square, this is the DC value. What is DC? VR sine phi r plus I into XL whole square. In this entire expression, if you check it, this was the formula for VS, sending end voltage. magnitude directly. Previously also we got the magnitude of Vs. This will have the real component and imaginary component. Later we have to get it magnitude and phase angle. But directly from the phasor diagram, we will be having this magnitude formula, which is equal to square root of Vr cos phi r plus I into r whole square plus Vr sin phi r plus I into x whole square. In this expression, if you check it, Vr is a known quantity because it is a demanded voltage. Cos phi r, it is also a known quantity because it depends upon the nature of the load, whether it is a lagging load or leading load, at what power factors it was selected. It is a known quantity cos phi r. Current I we calculated in the first step itself for both single phase and three phase. And next R, the resistance of the go wire and return wire are taken as a loop resistance. It is also a known quantity. Vr is a known quantity. If you know the cos phi r, then sin phi r can be calculated. It is also a known quantity. Current I, known quantity. XL, loop reactance, can be calculated with the help of the first unit formulas. So, in this entire expression, except Vs, the remaining all quantities are known quantity and we can use this formula for calculating Vs, where we will get the magnitude. Then what about the phase angle on the sending end side? Phase angle on the sending end side can be obtained from the triangle itself. For convenient purpose, I am redrawing here. That triangle is O, D, C, with known hypotenuse calculated as Vs. Just now we calculated this Vs here. This is the value. And the angle made by this Vs with respect to this horizontal component in our phasor diagram is phi s. Okay, means this angle is phi s. With known quantities of OD and known quantity of DC. We require now this phi s. Can be obtained with sending end side power factor cos phi s. Apply cosine term to this right angle triangle. Cos phi s is equal to adjacent side by hypotenuse. What is adjacent side? OD by hypotenuse OC. That is cos phi s can be now obtained as OD value. OD value is Vr cos phi r plus I into r divided by hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the calculated value of the sending end voltage Vs, so that we can get the sending end power factor also. Since this is a short transmission line without any shunt branch, the current on sending end side Is will be equal to the current on receiving end side, which is the calculated first step. So altogether we got the values of Ps, which is equal to Vs I cos phi s. Already with us we are having Pr, whose value is Pr is equal to Vr IR cos phi r. Now easily we can calculate the efficiency. The efficiency is equal to PR known value divided by PR as the demanded power plus the calculated current square into the resistance of the line. Like this we can calculate the efficiency. As it is percentages, we will be multiplying it with 100. Okay. And next we are having regulation term. To find out this regulation, one should be understood very clearly that it should be operated both at no load as well as with fully loaded condition. Under no load condition, we can consider this IR to be 0. Okay. Then what is the case here? The voltage available at the receiving end side with no load VR0, which is equal to, condition is at this point the current IR should be 0. Whenever the current is 0, this loop doesn't have any current being series branches, then the drop is 0. If the drop is 0 as per this KVL, Vs will be equal to VR. So at no load condition, this VR0 value is equal to Vs. Very, very important. Star mark, you can put it star mark. Very, very important. Under no load condition, the voltage and the receiving end side is equal to sending end voltage, because there are no drops available in the transmission line because the current is 0 in this series loop. Thereby VR0 is equal to Vs. Whenever it was loaded, then the voltage is identified to be VR at full load condition. At fully loaded condition. Once knowing the values of this VR0 and VR, we can give the percentage regulation. So the percentage regulation is equal to VR0 minus VR by VR into 100, since it is percentage. Thereby we can get this as, what is VR0 for short transmission line? For this short transmission line, VR0 is Vs minus VR by VR into 100. This is the way how to calculate the regulation. Okay.